Hi, welcome to MediaByte. Have you heard about the film that I may be mispronouncing, The Fablemans? Well, it definitely seems like a movie to watch out for, especially if you are a fan of Steven Spielberg and his life and story. You'll see what I mean. Well, if you want to, you can follow us on Twitter at MediaByteCo and Instagram is at MediaByteCompany. With that, let's get started. The Fablemans is a movie directed by none other than Steven Spielberg that follows his life as a young boy. It isn't, however, a straight biography. It is more just set on some events of his life and everything that happened to him as a young boy. Talking all about him growing up and him learning to use movies as a coping mechanism as he dealt with things that happened to him when he was a young child. Which a lot did happen to him. This is the premise of the movie on the Wikipedia page. Growing up in post-World War II era where Arizona, from age 7 to 18, a young man named Sammy Fableman discovers a shattering family secret and explores how the power of films can help him see the truth. That seems like a very interesting premise, especially because it is based on the life of Steven Spielberg, and honestly I'd probably watch this movie anyways, even if it wasn't based on his life in any way, shape, or form, but since it is, I am very, very interested in what this movie will be when it actually comes to fruition. This is the part of the video where I would normally talk about the background behind the director, but I decided you can look up the other million videos talking about Steven Spielberg's movies, and instead talk about the co-writer of the script, Tony Kushner. Tony's life alone decidedly needs a biography all to itself. Just look up his Wikipedia. There is so much to his life that it is impossible to describe all of it, but what I will do is list the two movies that Steven Spielberg has done with him, or written with him in some way or the other. He helped write Munich in 2005 and Lincoln in 2012, West Side Story from 2021, and the movie we are discussing here today. He has been with Spielberg and helped write some of his really, really amazing movies that I would be really proud of if I was in his shoes. This movie is absolutely one to keep your eyes on in the upcoming months as the release date for this movie bears itself closer and closer to release. The cast of the movie has some pretty well-known names that are officially announced: David Lynch, Paul Dano, and Seth Rogen, as well as other names I'm sure you will recognize. This movie seems like it is absolutely designed to be watched by people who love and adore movies, because there's something about the way they are talking about this movie that I can't see being anything other than a filmmaker's love letter to what got him into loving movies in the first place. We will see eventually when it releases if I'm right about that, but I do think that this movie will be so good, especially when you really think about the plot and who is directing it. We don't know much more about how this movie's plot is other than what I told you earlier, because they are keeping a lot of it under wraps for a while. We will see more probably once we get closer and the marketing gets underway, what we are actually going to be watching when the time officially comes. Well, that is it. If you want to keep up to date with all things The Fablemans, you can follow us on Twitter at MediaByteCo and Instagram is at MediaByteCompany. Listen to all of the podcasts on the MediaByte Podcast Network. Make sure to listen to, let us know which one of those podcasts are your favorite, and check out our Patreon. We post commentaries, extra content, and behind-the-scenes stuff. Back to the podcast for a second. If you have a podcast idea that, specifically that you were interested in, let me know. If you have a topic for a podcast for the Slasher podcast, or exploring cinema, or just kind of any podcast really, I'm down. I have a bunch of ideas for podcasts coming out soon. Kind of a bunch of ideas that I'm trying to workshop and see how that goes. We will see how all of that manifests itself. Thank you for watching, and we will see you all in the next one. Peace.